It's most unusual for Seahawks coach Chuck Knox to sneak up on his opposition like he did to Denver's Dan Reeves in the AFC wildcard game. Normally, Knox's approach is straightforward. He builds teams around defense and a dominant running game. This season, Knox became the first coach in NFL history to guide 3 different teams to the playoffs by featuring the AFC's leading rusher, rookie Kurt Warner, number 28. Against the Broncos, Warner's burst set up the game's first touchdown, a Dave Craig to Steve Largent strike that barely eluded the outstretched hand of Denver's Louis Wright. But the Broncos bounced back quickly on the strength of their defense and running game. Disguising their blitz intentions by delaying it for a split second, the Broncos forced Seattle center Blair Bush, number 59, into a double-team block, while number 52, linebacker Ken Woodard, was left with a clear path to Craig. Denver had not run the ball well in 1983. The main concern in the Mile High City was settling on a number 1 quarterback. Steve DeBerg, returning from a shoulder injury, replaced John Elway as the starter against Seattle. But the Broncos surprisingly turned to the run, and Sammy Winder, number 23, made the strategy pay off. Winder's 35-yard run led to the tying touchdown, a 13-yard pass from DeBerg to free agent criminal justice major Jesse James Miles, number 39. The first quarter had been played evenly. Both teams had scored following long drives. But the pattern of the game began to emerge in the second period. The Broncos continued to move the ball, but they were thwarted by turnovers, and they could not put any more points on the board. Kerry Justin's interception was Denver's first mistake, and the Seahawks' first opportunity to take control. Offensively, the Seahawks reflect the personality of Knox, a man whose beliefs run contrary to present football thinking. Knox still establishes the ground game first, and it came as no surprise when Warner got the call following the interception. Warner picked up 72 yards rushing in the first half, but the Broncos denied Seattle a second touchdown, and a field goal made it 10-7. It was to be expected that this game would be tight, for this was a record 5th meeting in 1 calendar year between these 2 AFC West rivals. A hard-fought first half had so far not tipped the balance in either team's favor. It appeared that the Broncos might change that when they embarked on a drive that used 8 minutes of the second quarter clock. Unlike period 1, the key plays on this march came through the air as DeBerg began finding his favorite target, 1,000-yard receiver Steve Watson, number 81. A tough sideline catch by Watson brought the ball to the Seahawks' 4-yard line with less than 2 minutes remaining in the half. But on the next play, a turnover reared its ugly head. Gerald Wilhite's fumble, Denver's second costly mistake of the period, was recovered by the Seahawks, and the Broncos came up empty. The half ended with Seattle in front 10-7, despite the fact that the Broncos did most of the offensive damage following Craig's early touchdown pass. But the first half had merely been a warm-up for Craig and his teammates. In the second 30 minutes, Seattle buried the Broncos with a brilliant display of nearly flawless football. Through the first half, Seahawk quarterback Dave Craig suffered only 1 incomplete pass. In the second half, Craig connected on every throw he made. and he began pitching his perfect game with 3 big completions on Seattle's first possession. Number 87, tight end Charlie Young, is one of several experienced players brought in by Chuck Knox to bolster the young Seahawks, and his catch got the drive off on the right foot. From there, it was first-half hero Steve Largent who continued to cause problems for the Broncos secondary. After Largent got the Seahawks close, some heroics came from both the scrambling Dave Craig and the man who holds the NCAA basketball record for best field goal percentage in a season. Number 88, tight end Pete Metzelaars, was a dead-eye shooter when he attended Wabash College. And the former hoop star hit a bullseye thanks to quick thinking and quick feet from his quarterback. By eluding Bronco pressure, Craig bought enough time for Metzelaars to work himself free for the touchdown. Right after Metzelaars gave Seattle a 17-7 lead, another former college basketball star, number 84, Sam Clancy of Pitt, made his first tackle ever in the pros when he sacked Steve DeBerg. This was but one of several big defensive plays that kept continuous pressure on Bronco quarterbacks, as Seattle showed no reluctance to blitz. All-Pro safety Kenny Easley, number 45, is on his way to the Pro Bowl for the second straight year and has earned the right with timely plays such as this safety blitz. Easley had only one blocker to beat, then sent DeBerg down for the count. Thanks to Seattle's constant pressure, Denver did not score in the second half, but the Seahawks were just warming up offensively as Dave Craig continued his red-hot string of completions with a scoring strike to Paul Johns, number 85. Craig's toss was a perfect throw that just did elude the outstretched arm of Bronco defender Mike Harden, number 31. With the score, Seattle increased its lead to 24-7. Just moments later, it was Paul Johns again, running in motion, then breaking a fly pattern down the sideline for a 41-yard gain. Kurt Warner then took over, escorting the ball to the edge of the goal line while bringing his game rushing total to 99 yards. Then the AFC Rookie of the Year threw a block to spring number 46 David Hughes, who somersaulted in for Seattle's final score. With the game's outcome all but decided, Denver thanked Steve DeBerg for his efforts and turned matters over to backup John Elway. Elway got decent results, although they came through some unorthodox methods. Jesse Miles, author of Denver's only score, picked up respectable yardage on 2 unusual plays. But the Broncos would not even be permitted a consolation touchdown, as Elway uncorked an interception to Seattle cornerback Gregory Johnson. The old adage has always been, teams making their first playoff appearance aren't supposed to win. Apparently, someone neglected to mention this to Seattle. After a brief celebration in the victorious locker room, the Seahawks returned to the field for a curtain call, and the fans savored every delicious moment. For 8 years, the natives of Seattle have yearned for a playoff team. Their long wait is finally over. No matter what else the Seahawks do in the playoffs, this season has been the best in franchise history. Never before has this flock of Seahawks soared so high. Last week in Dallas, rookie head coach John Robinson was in an ideal situation. Having led a down-and-out Ram team all the way to the playoffs, Robinson had nothing to lose and everything to gain in the wild card contest against the Cowboys. On the other hand, Tom Landry's position was not quite as enviable. Any game prior to the conference championship is considered an automatic win in Dallas, where the measure of success has been distorted by so many winning seasons. Therefore, Landry had little to gain, but a lot to lose. For most of the Rams, traveling to Texas meant nothing more than a playoff game on the road. However, for running back Eric Dickerson, the trip was a long-awaited homecoming. Despite the Cowboys' concern with corralling Dickerson, the former SMU star thrilled his hometown fans, running for 70 first-half yards. Dickerson's efforts on the Rams' very first drive took Los Angeles down to the Cowboy 18, where sore-handed quarterback Vince Ferragamo put up a wounded duck. But like a well-trained retriever, number 81 David Hill fetched the wobbly pass to give the Rams a 7-0 lead. Another look at the score shows that despite pressure, Ferragamo hung in long enough to allow his big tight end to get open. Moving the ball on the Dallas defense is a difficult task. However, the Rams made it appear easy. Unfortunately for the Cowboys, they could not boast the same accomplishment against Los Angeles. Dallas has been doing a juggling act with their fate for the past few weeks, partly due to an ineffective ground game that at times can't seem to get out of its own way. The lack of even a spark from the usually fiery Tony Dorsett quickly sent an engraved invitation to the Rams' defensive line. Since we can't run, we have to throw. Therefore, you'll find quarterback Danny White standing in the pocket, waiting for your arrival. A determined Los Angeles defense held Dallas scoreless throughout most of the first half. However, after allowing the early touchdown, the Cowboy defense showed a little muscle of its own. Dallas kept the Rams off the scoreboard for the rest of the half, thanks in part to a big fourth down play in which the Cowboys took the razzle out of the Rams' dazzle. Inspired by the defense, or more likely the boos of the crowd, the silent Cowboy offense finally made a little noise of its own. Number 80, Tony Hill, who caught 7 first-half passes for 89 yards, moved the Cowboys down to the Ram 14 with only 21 seconds remaining in the half. Dallas's famous come-from-behind victories are quickly becoming a thing of the past. Danny White was a little more concerned with tying the game up before halftime. Hill's touchdown knotted the game at 7 apiece, as it appeared the Cowboy quarterback was beginning to get the hang of threading the small holes left open by the Ram defense. While Cowboy fans and the players themselves enjoyed what seemed to be a crucial shift in the game's momentum, head coach Tom Landry headed for the locker room looking as though he knew something no one else did of what loomed ahead. Except for maybe John Robinson. While cowboys aren't the ones who are supposed to wear war paint, cowboy fans were all made up to inspire their team to remain on the warpath after the intermission. The Cowboys maintained the momentum they had established at the end of the second quarter, as Danny White got the Dallas offense moving on the first possession of the third period. White directed an 8-play, 30-yard drive that culminated in the Rafael Septien field goal. When the Rams attempted to mount an airborne assault on Dallas's 10-7 lead, Vince Ferragamo was grounded by the Dallas defense. LA's initial drive of the second half stalled on the Dallas 45. Then the Cowboys began a painful process of self-destruction that would plague them throughout the remainder of the afternoon. Number 31, Gary Allen, mishandled John Misko's punt, and the Rams recovered. Then quickly took advantage of the miscue as Ferragamo hit number 88, Preston Denard, in the end zone on the very next play. Dallas retaliated by moving into Ram territory, but the Cowboys could not shake their penchant for untimely mistakes. After linebacker Jim Collins, number 50, picked off a Danny White pass, the Rams saddled up Eric Dickerson, number 29, and the thoroughbred running back paced a charge downfield. This drive continued into the fourth quarter, which began with Ferragamo's scoring pass to number 84, George Farmer. With the Rams now ahead 21-10, Dallas could not afford another blunder. But with the Cowboys moving toward a crucial score, White made his costliest error of the day. Number 47, Leroy Irvin, raced 94 yards with the errant pass to set up a Mike Lansford field goal, and it appeared that the Rams were well in command. In this case, appearances were hardly deceiving when the following Dallas drive ended with yet another Los Angeles interception. But number 58, Mello and Steff, didn't lead to a Rams score. And with less than 4 minutes to play, Dallas set out to mount a comeback. White staved off disaster when he faced a 4th and 17 situation and hit number 88, Drew Pearson, for a 30-yard gain. Cowboys had plenty of time to produce the kind of miracle finish that is part of the Dallas legend. But unfortunately, they took too much time to make it happen. White's touchdown pass to number 84, Doug Cosby, climaxed a drive that took over 3 minutes, a veritable eternity for a team in need of a pair of quick scores. Thus, Dallas's last hope was a last-gasp onside kick attempt. It failed when number 21, Nolan Cromwell, knocked the ball out of bounds to give the Rams possession and an opportunity to sit on their lead in the final minute of the contest. For the first time since 1979, Dallas had lost 3 straight games. Tom Landry had seen the life begin to drain from his team when they lost to Washington and San Francisco in the final 2 weeks of the regular season. Now, that life was gone altogether. John Robinson's surprising Rams, however, are still alive and kicking. Like the Seattle Seahawks, the Rams are a bona fide Cinderella team, and their golden coach now awaits to transport them to Washington and round 2 of the NFC playoffs.